running up the score.
Jerry Napoleonello.
This team has been on the clock for 4 months now. Why are we taking this down to the 4-minute mark? You know, you have 10 minutes here. 10 minutes here, but you've had 4 months. The dude's got 1,021 text messages that he hasn't read yet. Did we not notice that?
Kevin Donlin.
Bryce Harper's a great player. He's very, very talented. Aside from last year, but I blame myself. I'm pretty sure I'm the reason for that with fantasy baseball. That's disgusting.
Wow.
I can't believe that's real. I mean, again, I'm not. I shouldn't hate. I'm not going to be the kind of person that hates.
No,
He is doing enough hating for the both of us.
As a Cowboys fan, the expectations are so high, and it's just, you're dug into the ground by the end of the season.
You're basically like what the Patriots are, but like you try to do it, but you just don't.
No.
Yeah. At least the Jets, you know what I mean? They have excuses.
This is Running Up the Score, your one-stop spot for all things sports. Now here's your hosts, Jerry Napoleonello and Kevin Donlin.
Hockey's tight right now. Just all over. The Western Conference, the Eastern Conference, it's tight.
Absolutely.
It is tight, and hockey, when it starts to come down to the playoffs, I mean, there's nothing like it. And we've talked about this, I think, every year of Running Up the Score and the Tom and Jerry Sports Show. Hockey is one of the best playoff sports in the world. I mean, that's what it comes down to. So, first, before we get into the rest of the NHL, we have to give you some Islanders news, and it's fantastic news for us. The Islanders came out, Governor Cuomo announced that the Islanders will be playing all of the playoff games this year, and hopefully we do play playoff games this year, at the Nassau Coliseum. And next year, all of the home games will be played at the Nassau Coliseum. So we are officially done with Brooklyn when it comes down. I think the last game at the Barclays Center, which they're playing there tonight, I believe. The last game that we play at the Barclays Center is, I want to say, March 23rd. So I think there's 3 more games in Brooklyn, and that's it. The rest of it is going to be in Nassau County, and for the rest of the Islanders organization will be played in Nassau County, because we're just going to go right from Nassau Coliseum to the Belmont for our forever home.
No, of course, and it's the right move for the Islanders, and I think Barry Trotz put it the best way. It's not normal to be playing in 2 different arenas, and it's not, you're in a routine, and like we talked about it even when Panarin signed with the New York Rangers as to reasons as to why players wouldn't want to come here, and it was understandable. As a player in the National Hockey League, you want to be able to have a routine. You want to have that same approach to going into the stadium every night, and you don't want to be I truthfully did not know when the Islanders were playing at Barclays or Nassau Coliseum. I couldn't tell you tonight where they were playing.
I just had to see the actual surroundings.
Of course, and unfortunately, that's not normal. I don't think any other organization has done anything close to this. But unfortunately, it was a must-do in order to keep the New York Islanders in New York. There were many speculation stories about them going elsewhere.
Kansas City,
of course, and fortunately for the New York Islanders, they found a way to stay the New York Islanders. And Belmont, I pass it every time when I'm driving home from work. It's the beams are there.
It's a beautiful sight.
The building's coming, and
it's gonna suck though when you're driving home from work.
No,
and there's a game.
No, absolutely. I'll take a different route. No, I got 2 routes. I got 2 routes. It won't be too bad.
That's it. I'm loving. First of all, I'm gonna be out of my house by the time they end up playing in the Belmont. So, it's not gonna be that jump skip, over to the Belmont, but it's still going to be closer than Brooklyn, which is nice. You don't have to get on a train, although you can. Long Island Railroad will go right there. So it's going to be nice. But just the fact, for me coming home and taking the Cross Island home, there's enough traffic on there now. Now,
Yep.
could you imagine a game night?
Nope.
Coming home at say you come home a little later, maybe 10 o'clock or so, when the game's letting out, and it's
not
it's
fun.
going to be ugly.
Yeah, it's
But
gonna
you know what? I'll take it. I'll take it. The fact that the Islanders are back on the island,
Of course.
I'm down with that. So I just had to bring that up first. But as I was saying with the playoff race, it's getting hot right now, and we just had the trade deadline. So a lot of teams made themselves better. Some teams didn't make themselves better, made themselves worse. But when you look at it, the top. So I think it was NHL.com that put this out here, and it was just they gave 4 tiers. The teams that got, A's is in tier 1, with the trade deadline and whatnot, and so on and so on. So they have the Tampa Bay Lightning here. They added Blake Coleman, Barclay Goodrow, Devontae Stevens, a 3rd round pick, a 7th round pick. They lost. I think really the only one that was really known or that could be effective was Nolan Foote. But you add Blake Coleman to that team already, and they're a solid team. You look at the Pittsburgh Penguins, adding Patrick Marleau, Connor Sheary back with the Penguins, Jason Zucker. They made themselves relatively better. Really, they only lost Alex Galchenyuk. Then you look at other teams like the Edmonton Oilers. They actually really made themselves better. The Capitals adding Kovalchuk, Bruins adding Case and Ritchie. So these teams have made themselves better, and it's only getting tighter. As we said, the playoffs are only getting tighter. You're looking at this right now in the Eastern. You're looking at the Metropolitan Division, the Washington Capitals 86 points, the Philadelphia Flyers 83 points, the Pittsburgh Penguins 80 points. Then you look at the Atlantic, Boston's got 94, who's over, in first place by a lot. Tampa Bay 87 points, Toronto 78 points. The Islanders are ahead in the wild card, with 78 points. Columbus is tied with them at 78 points. Carolina, who's out of the playoffs right now, have 75. The Rangers 74. Florida Panthers 73. Even Montreal, who we're playing tonight, 69 points. So this is so close. And then when you look at the Western, St. Louis 88 points, Colorado 87, Dallas 81, Vegas 80, Edmonton 78, Calgary 75, Vancouver, who's the first wild card team, 74, Nashville 72, Winnipeg 72, Arizona 72, Minnesota 71. This is more than half of the league that's in the running for the playoffs, and this is where hockey gets good.
Well, this is why the NHL is what it is, and these games are all important now as we get to the later stages of the season. The Islanders obviously started off very, very hot. The Rangers started off very, very, very slow. And both teams find themselves in similar situations where every game counts. Every game is very, very important. And right now, you got to get hot. You got to get hot at the right time. And, obviously, for the Flyers, teams like that, they're finding it way easier to make the playoffs right now. And teams like, Pittsburgh and the Islanders, they're having a hard time holding on to whatever they have in this playoff position.
Well, yeah, I mean, the Islanders just played Boston, and you can tell why Boston is.
Well, they played the
#1
two best
seed.
teams the last 2 games.
Yeah.
I think this game against Montreal hopefully is it's an important one. It's got to be one that you got to find a way to win. But the same thing could have been said for the Rangers over the weekend with Philly, and they needed to find a way to win one of them. And unfortunately for them, they really took a step back, and Philly took a step forward, and they're obviously going to be competing with Washington with a potential 1 or 2 seeded.
Well, that's the thing. When it comes to the Rangers, you really have no room for error. Like this is a time.
Well, I don't think the Rangers are alone with that. I think it's everyone.
I mean,
I think it's Carolina, Columbus, Florida, Montreal,
the
even
Islanders
Buffalo,
even.
Islanders, Pittsburgh,
Toronto. The one thing that I brought up, earlier in the season when the Islanders were the hottest team in hockey, I said the scary thing about it is that the Islanders have won 10 games in a row, and they're still not in first place. or they're still in first place by 2 points.
Yeah,
That was the issue.
Well, even so, you're looking at, right now, half these teams are on the cusp of 80 points, and, there's a lot more games to go. We got 82 games. It's 18 games to get.
18 games left, yeah.
That's 30 points up for grabs for the Islanders with 78 points. You're looking at a 105-point season or, a 95-point season, and you could potentially not make the playoffs.
For more Running Up the Score, go follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at RUTS Sports.